What's going on, everyone? I'm sure a lot of you know that I've been gone for quite some time, probably say about 3 years or so, something like that. Now, during that break, I never stopped playing, and I played a lot of games. So, I want to go over some of the games I loved from 2021 to 2023. 10 of them, to be exact. And let me go ahead and say this, I love Helldivers, Lethal Company, Baldur's Gate, Elden Ring, but those aren't going to be on here. Everybody loves them, and they were all talked about, and they had their time to shine. They're good. I know they're good, but I want to shine some light on some new titles that not many people talked about, except for number one. The number one spot had its place 13 years in the making, but number two, I promise you, is going to surprise pretty much everybody, and no one talks about it, but to me, it is magical. Starting out at number 10, we have Weird West, an isometric western shooter that took me completely by surprise. Now, when I got this game, I knew you were going to hunt down werewolves, cult members, pigmen, all this strange shit like that a horror fan like me would love. However, I had no idea that I was going to play as a werewolf, a pigman, a witch. I thought this was just going to be a one-character show, but I was wrong. Travel the West, completing quests, running from the law, breaking into people's houses, blowing things up into smithereens. This truly was a game that a lot of people slept on. If you want a new top-down game that offers an interesting story with tremendous gameplay, look no further. At number 9, we have Atomic Heart. Now, I had looked forward to this game for a few years before it released. I had Bioshock fever, and I just needed something similar. Now, not entirely alike, it was still enough to scratch that itch. An open world fever dream of a game that saw me terrified of automatons because it would creep up on you out of nowhere and just beat you up for your lunch money. Now, I do have to say this. The game is tough at hell at times and can feel intimidating, but it makes sense because this world is unforgiving. Pick up a weapon, talk to the horniest upgrade machine you've ever encountered, and bash those android brains in. It's great fun and has a super compelling story with loads of weird characters. Plus, it has a decent amount of puzzles for you to figure out and a nice map to explore. It's a win-win, but I also want to say something else. This game is very slow, so in the beginning it's going to take about an hour and 20 minutes or so to really get things rolling. Just give it a chance. It's world building, it's helping you understand the story, the timepiece of where you are, where it's set, when it's set. Just give it a chance. I promise it's going to pay off.
Titillating. Rebellious dominant men really turn me on.
Oh, I'll turn you on, all right.
In the 8th spot, we have Roller Dome. Now, I can't ever recall a game that blended genres like these two. I mean, if Jet Set Radio were an arena shooter, this is almost what that would be. And to people's surprise, it has a story and it's not half bad. Take on different arenas, completing the challenges they give you with a decent sized arsenal. Some are complete with boss fights and others are just waves of enemies. Every map is unique, offers new ways to skate around and blast everything. For 2022, this game takes my award for the indie title. It is unique, it is simple, and above all, it is fun. I promise you've never played anything like it, so go check it out. Now, I might be alone for number 7, because a lot of people enjoyed part 1 and part 2 of the series more than they did part 3, but I don't care. I love Shadow Warrior 3. It's a ninja assassin equivalent to Doom Eternal. It's fast-paced action around every corner, cringe-worthy humor that we saw in the game's previous. Creature design? I don't know. They were always covered in blood and entrails, so I couldn't tell you. It's nothing but pure fun. Platform your way through the coming end times and stop the dragon before it's too late. It's a child's play of a story, but that's not what you're here for. Get them traps rolling and the floors covered in guts because Lo Wang is back and ready to kick ass. Also, Xbox fans, this is on Game Pass, so no harm to the wallet is done. Grab a drink, download the game, and blast those demons back to hell. And this game also doesn't need your full attention, so you might as well grab another drink while you're at it. At number 6, we're going to go back to the West with Evil West. What would John Carpenter's vampires be like as a Western beat-em-up? Evil West is the correct answer. How many times am I going to say West in this paragraph? I don't know, a lot. Now take on the role of Jesse Rentier, one of the last agents for the Vampire Hunting Institute, and beat the hell out of every creature that you come across. You're going to solve some puzzles, and then don't forget your lasso because platforming without it would be impossible. It really has everything. If you have a beat 'em up itch and you haven't played this, you're missing out. It's an intriguing story that motivates you to push forward, well-rounded combat that we honestly don't get too much of anymore, and to top the pie, the campaign can be completed alongside a friend. Now that in itself is worth it for me. Hell, even Halo Infinite scrapped its co-op campaign mode, and for what, you're probably asking? Probably all the damn layoffs Xbox insists on doing. With number 5, I have Dead Island 2. Did you all hate this game? Like, am I missing something? Because I loved it way more than Dying Light 2, and apparently I loved it way more than anybody else. It was a fun combat system with an even greater gore mechanic that peeled the flesh off the zombies like bananas. I see some folks didn't think it was creative enough, and that's probably why the DLC tries to go over the top with some culty stories. It's a fun game. I beat it, and I kept playing to do the challenges, hopping right back on just to kill some more of the Walking Dead. I don't remember the last time I hopped on a game just to run around killing enemies without a goal. I just wanted to slice a leg off and watch the fall animation, or knock the jaw on the floor just because I could. Sure, the story is short and kind of bland, but the gameplay for me, that's a 9 out of 10. This game is always on sale. 30 or 40 bucks, and it is worth that price without hesitation. Number 4, probably the newest one on this list, is going to be the new Prince of Persia. This game was pretty well received amongst the community, and that came as a huge surprise to me because I didn't think anybody cared about this IP anymore. Even more so that it returned back to its roots as a side-scroller. But lo and behold, this was the best side-scroller I've played since having this channel, and I think that this is my favorite Prince of Persia game. It was never too hard or complicated, nicely paced, well designed, and the gameplay was a perfect mashup of combat and platforming. So damn intricate that platforming was, and sometimes it might make you rage, but it's all about patience. Timing is key. They're going to teach you that in the game, and that goes for the combat as well. Keep calm, you're gonna sweat, but I promise you everything's gonna be fine and you're gonna be rewarded generously. So coming around to the final 3, these next 2 might be a little controversial, I guess you would say, to have in my top 3, but I don't care. Kalista Protocol? Yep, this game was received all over the place. I actually didn't buy this game and went for Evil West instead, which I love, but I like Kalista Protocol more. People said it was terrible, some said it was good, and others said, it's okay. For me, fantastic. I go so far to say that I can't even decide if I like this or the Dead Space remake more, and that is solely due to this game's combat. The melee combat in this game is what separates it from Dead Space for me, making it a tad more difficult and adds more of an adrenaline rush. Ammo is scarce and enemies are fast and plentiful, so you gotta be quick and dodge. Whack an enemy, step back, and give them a shot somewhere critical. Now, this really has some addicting gameplay, and I didn't want to put it down. It was just too much fun. And then the story, I mean, I get it's not the greatest thing ever written, but it held your interest and it had a neat concept with a great cast, including the great Sam Witwer, also known as Starkiller or Deacon St. John. This game has talent, this game is fun, so don't be quick to judge. And I know it didn't run best on release, and that's completely fair, I get it. However, it is fixed. This game runs great and it feels even better. Closer to the number 1 spot, this is the one that I don't think anybody would have ever guessed, Ghostwire Tokyo. And again, Xbox Studios is now on my enemy list. Upon the release of this game, that's when I started to really realize that, damn, people are caring less and less for single player games. I remember tons of people excited for games like Spec Ops: The Line, the original Dead Space, Evil Within, and fast forward, nobody ever talked about this, but it got pretty good reviews. Ghostwire Tokyo, it's a scrap of Evil Within 3, or at least some installment within the Evil Within franchise. Here, Tokyo's entire population has vanished and has been replaced with an army of ghosts and demons. Now your job is to travel the dense and overran map to figure out what happened and where is everybody. Now the 2 things to make this game such a hit for me is the story always kept me on my toes, and that's because it was so weird. I never knew what was going to happen. And then we have the combat. And I'm going to say this, and I say it to everyone. You can go on my Discord and ask. I've said it a million times. I can't sell you on the combat of this game with just a video, because it never sold me. Playing and feeling the magic burst from your hands to take out these specters, it's just a different feeling entirely. Ghostwire Tokyo, do not sit on it. It is always on sale. Check it out. And finally, the moment that this video has led up to, the reveal for number 1, Allan Wake 2. I have awaited this game for years. I never thought that this would happen. and that's because they scrapped the whole Allan Wake 2 idea years ago. But I see what they did, and honestly, releasing Control and Quantum Break first helped build the narrative in a way that makes Allan Wake's story a masterpiece. But why is this game number one other than story? Because Initiation 4 in Allan's Dimension is the single greatest chapter ever in the history of gaming. If A24 released a short story for this game, it would have been Initiation 4. This musical set piece, along with the darkness trying to kill you, was the most I've been gripped in gaming, and I kid you not, absolute years. Probably middle school days for me. Other than that though, this game is creepy as fuck and it'll scare you. It handles all the systems of a survival horror game exquisitely, like chef's kiss, and it looks absolutely stunning. To date, this is Remedy's best-selling game, and Sam Lake is finally getting the credit he is due. And if you have not played Allan Wake 2, this is your sign to buy it and play it until the very freaking end. 2 honorable mentions I have. So, the first one is Trepang 2. I would have loved to put this on the list. It's a fun shooter, but I was way too drunk playing it, so all I remember is Mothman and just chunks of enemies. Blood Hunt is also one I enjoyed a lot of. It's a unique take on the battle royales, but as a vampire. And I still get on and play it too, so maybe I will see you on there. If you all have any top 10 or top 5 videos, let me know below. Game releases they're just too slow these days, so I have to put other video topics in between everything I'm doing. Plus, I do love doing these. That's all I got. Subscribe for more, and I will see you next time.